Uh-oh, Doddy's away, but don't worry, Nikolai have got a brand new trail bike for us to look at.
Yeah, and Hayes are bringing out a whole new bunch of kids' components.
And Oneup Components have got a brand new cockpit system. Right, let's get started with the tech this week, and I can't wait to tell you about this brand new Nikolais Saturn trail bike. This is really nice, right? I love Nikolai, right? I've actually had a few of these bikes. Mine have been the custom Geometron versions that come through Chris Porter at the Mojo Rising thing that's happening in Wales, in the UK. Chris Porter's very famous for pushing the boundaries on geometry. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. Big, slack head angles, long top tubes, and very slack steep seat tubes as well. You know, making the climbing a lot easier. Yeah, and it's had a big influence on this bike, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's what I was going to say. I mean, his influence has moved across. I think he's really pushed Nikolai's vision of geometry, and the Saturn looks really cool. It's got some really nice details to it. It has got that longer reach. It's got a slacker head angle.
So a really nice touch on this is the tension bar, and what this does is actually when the frame bottoms out, it kind of ties all the pivot bolts together, so it doesn't,
that's super smart.
That stress is all distributed through that rather than just a shock in the linkage. Obviously quite a high stress area, and what it does is allows them to use lightweight tubing around the area as well, so again losing weight. 130mm
rear with a 29er in, 140 if you've got the 27.5 wheels on that, and it's got 150 up front. Size is small to XXL, reach 450mm on the small to a huge 540mm on the XL.
So the Hayes Group have launched a brand new set of components called the J-Unit. J-Unit, but it's catering for the smaller riders out there, like the kids stuff, which has previously been pretty neglected over the past few years. You know, a few keen dads have been out in their workshops like milling down things and getting them suited, but this is off-the-shelf production stuff, and it looks really exciting. Kicking it off, we've got a decent set of wheels available in 20 and 24 inch, super strong, with decent 6-bolt hubs, decent bearings. You know, something that tends to be, you know, an overlooked, you know, part of kids' bikes for sure.
Yeah, quite often the details of what a smaller rider needs is overlooked. I remember from when my son was really little, like trying to get the brake levers in so they could actually reach them, but the brakes not be on at that point was nearly impossible. I used to spend my life trying to adjust his brakes. So these little details that Hayes are thinking about, really, really important. You can see it on these handlebars where they've brought these grips down to a optimal thickness of the grip, but to do that they've actually created a grip that goes over a smaller bar, but there's then got a wider piece on the inside of the grip, so you can still put all your control points on there.
That's really cool, isn't it?
So it looks kind of weird, but I think once the parts are on there, it'll all make sense.
It's kind of like, as an adult, I'd imagine when a kid gets on a bike, he must feel that the grips are holding on to like toilet rolls on the end of the handlebars. You know? So if you decrease that size, then it's pretty much the same width, narrowness as a normal handlebar. So pretty cool. And they've also launched the Manitou Machete fork as well, which is available in 20 and 24 inch, 80 to 100mm travel. But again, that's a really quality suspension fork. It's got even a through axle. You know, a lot of kids' forks tend to be just a nut and bolt axle, which is pretty lame these days, and they've got fully adjustable. You know, it's a really quality fork and designed, you know, air sprung, and it's designed to be like a lighter sprung fork as well. So, you know, traditionally those forks tend to be quite stiff and you have to fettle them, but this is off the shelf, ready to go. So
great stuff. Really great cool stuff. Thinking about the kids makes a big difference. Next up, we've got the Flector Lubri disc. Have you seen this?
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
It's really cool, isn't it? Right, so the idea is that you can put all of your lube into this kind of sponge disc, and then you can just roll your chain across on that. It lubes your chain. It holds enough lube so you can do your chain a few times or multiple chains. But the beauty is, it can then go into its little container. You haven't got grease all over your hands and all over, importantly, the bike. You've just rolled it onto the chain.
It's really cool, isn't
Neat idea. Such a simple solution.
I love it. Just run it through your fingers, backpedal the chain, and it's done. You know, you're not messing around with lube and spraying it over the cassette, possibly contaminating the brakes. It's all done. Clean hands, clean bike, all set. All in a neat little package.
I did think of one problem though, Chris.
What's that? It might leak in your handbag?
How do you lube the spinny bit on the Flecti lube?
Oh, yeah. Maybe lick your finger.
Time to dive into the bike cave, and this week's starring shed is from Peter in Portland in Dorset in the UK, near us. This is a pretty looking little spot.
It does look cool, doesn't it?
It's got so much, it's small, but it's got so much crammed into it. What jumps out for you, Chris? What's the first thing you notice in there?
I like the upcycling he's been doing. He's been using old pallets to create like his workbench and things.
Oh yeah, that's pretty
clever.
Cool, yeah, that's what it is, yeah. I really like the detail. You can't really see it from the first angle, but the hidden fridge. Yeah. See that? He's turned it into a desk, but essentially he's still got the fridge freezer in there.
And still earning points for having the free, you know, I expect his wife's been kicking off about not having room in there and bikes kicking off, but he's managed to stick it under his workshop, which is pretty neat.
Absolutely. Look, there is signs of a road bike in there, which is slightly concerning. It's a Rover Cause R7, just been sprayed, and he's refitting that for a gravel bike packing mountain bike holiday, so that's actually a pretty cool idea.
It looks like it's got every single thing you'd want in there. It's all pretty condensed, but literally, I'm looking at it, it's got ticks all the boxes for me. You know, helmet storage, waterproofs.
The only thing I would say is the tools, when the bikes are in, the tools are hard to get to. Peter, that's what I would say. I don't know how you handle that, because you've got to do a lot of climbing over bikes to get to the tools.
It's 5x7. I think it's pretty good, condensed, concentrated.
And I like that artwork on the ceiling. That's cool, really cool. Yeah, that's mint sauce, isn't it?
Is it?
That's a mint sauce poster on the ceiling, and then there's lots of bottle caps. All stuck to the wall.
And the guard dog in there as well. Look,
the guard dog,
Guard dog.
Now we can't work out if it's a puppy mastiff, which we doubt, because I've got one of them. It doesn't look like that. Or maybe some kind of mutt, some kind of hybrid. Maybe a labrapoodle. You know, there's lots of them now, isn't there? A doodle pansit, or whatever they call them.
Does look good.
Anyway, yeah, it's a great looking bike cave. Certainly got a lot of character. Hey, you've probably got a great cave yourself. Now, why aren't you sending us shots of that? If you could, it would be great. Go to the GMBN Tech uploader, which is in the description down below, and you can send us any of the stuff you want to get onto the show. But we definitely want to see your bike cave.
I love seeing those bike caves. So we got a really nice entry in this week. It comes in from Lars. He sent his Cannondale Super V 400 in, and it's from 1998. Look at this.
I love this bike. I love this bike. I actually
Cannondales.
Well, I rode for Cannondale at that time, and I actually bought one in team blue colours for my wife for her birthday, actually. Yeah. She found out about 3 weeks later she was pregnant and she had to sell it. Anyway, it's a very cool looking bike. I love the little story he's taken through, because this was basically, was it his uncle's bike? And he was using it as a commuter. He'd mentioned it a couple of times, and he thought he'd check it out, what this bike his uncle had been using.
Imagine that, walking in and thinking,
finding this amazing Super V piece of history just sat there, and as Lars used to ride trials back in the day, he definitely recognised this bike as something he wanted to have and update, so he got about it, and he's done some good. He's put some good upgrades on it. It's looking pretty cool
from
now.
His trials routes, hasn't he? Put a set of Miura's HS33s on there, Corotec trial wheel set on there as well.
Yeah, very nice.
Looks pretty cool.
I particularly like this shot of it out on the trail, where it's already starting to come to life, where the handlebars are looking a bit more up to date, and he's got the bigger Michelin tyres on there. He still at that point hasn't changed out the brakes and the rims, but you can already see it was a cool looking bike at the time.
Yeah,
really nice.
Saying that he serviced the rear shock as well, so that's pretty cool to get into that. Yeah. How short do those shocks look these days? Look at the stroke on that as well.
It's unbelievable. He's now moved on to a Canyon Strive, which he's absolutely loving, but he does take the Cannondale out for the odd ride. Dust it off and make sure it's still working nice and keeping it running, which is great to see. That's a great bike, and definitely an iconic looking Cannondale, because that look carried across a lot of their bikes for the next few years. Top modifications this week. We've got a little gallery of them. But we're starting with Michael this week, who's done a few things, but let's start with this toolbox system.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. He got tired of using a bar mounted carrier, so he wanted somewhere to put all his tools and the things that he carries out on those rides, and he didn't want to run a backpack either, because he just uses that purely for water. So what he's done, he's got this pipe, modified it, sliced it kind of in half, and created a carpet lined monster water bottle basically that you can put on your down tube, add to your water bottle mounts, and stick every single thing in there. So it means that you've got no weight of you know, the weight's all in the bike. So
yeah, and he's got this like fabric closing system on it, so it keeps it all locked up nice and tight.
Yeah.
Obviously, the carpet liner inside means it's not going to be rattling around when you've got all those tools in there.
Yeah.
He's crammed quite a lot into it.
The colour coding as well.
And colour coding, yeah. Now, obviously, he made this amazing system. The colour coding bit's obviously grabbed his imagination, because then he's gone orange mad. He's got himself orange def grips.
Yeah, orange pedals.
Rock Bro orange pedals. I've not seen them before. Some orange links in his chain. So he's colour coded it all up as well. Yeah. So I tell you what, and I've got those def grips on my mountain trike in orange actually. And I really like them. Have you used those?
Yeah, they feel really good, don't they?
Really enjoy those. Yeah,
but it's a massive transformation if you look at the original picture of his bike and look to what it is now. It just shows you don't have to spend a load of money to get your bike looking pretty pimp.
I reckon Michael's defined this section of the show. Top mods.
Nice one.
Okay, next up we have got a really cool little update from Igor, who's in Willoughby in Ohio, making his kind of budget fork a little bit extra special.
Yeah, he's been busy with his 3D printer, and he's actually made up some volume spaces. They're not actually available for the Recon fork as standard. So he's been busy on there, lathed some up and dropped them in and made his fork a lot more progressive.
That is very cool. Yeah, 3D printing, you can get so much done with that.
I want to get one, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I imagine a 3D printer doesn't look like a printer.
I've seen them at work, but how much are they? Not that expensive.
I don't think they're too expensive. If someone knows about 3D printing, let us know in the comment section down below. What we got next?
So we've got big news coming in from Oneup. They're the company that brought us the EDC tool system, which, if you don't know what that is, basically a multi-tool that slides down into the fork steerer. But a lot of people didn't like the system purely because you had to thread the inside of the fork steerer to fit it. But they've done away with that. They've launched a new stem, which basically has a 3-bolt system on there. The lower bolt acts on a wedge system, which, as you do it up, counteracts. You have a wedge and preloads a headset. So it actually does away with all the star nut, top cap and everything. A really, really neat system.
Yeah, it is. That stem is available in 35mm and 50mm, and it retails $115, which is, it's a great little product. Really nice. Oneup have also got this ovalized bar. It comes in 800mm width. You can get it in a 20mm rise or 35mm rise. Now it's interesting because they've changed the ovalization of this to be optimal for a carbon bar. Yeah. So if you look at it from the front, that taper will happen very quickly and go down. But as you look from above, the taper's much more gentle, keeping that rigidity across the sort of length of the bar in a downward motion. So it's very cool that they're thinking about how to optimize that for carbon, which I guess all brands are doing, but this is their take on it.
Yeah, and they've done the second version of their popular dropper seat post. They've done it from 120mm drop to 210, so like a massive dropper seat post for those bigger riders out there. And also what they've done is created the lowest stack height as well. So with droppers, when you slam the seat post, they're still quite high, but Oneup have actually made it as low as possible. And you can do that by different increments, 10 and 20mm, so different shims available for that, getting that post down out of the way. So really cool, exciting stuff from Oneup.
Yeah, those bars coming in at $138 and this dropper post at $199.
Nice.
Thanks for watching this week's GMBN Tech. Doddy will be back next week after having a little break from after Sea Otter because he was working very hard over there. But it's been a really fun show.
Yeah, it's been good, Mark. I've really enjoyed it today. But if you want to check out all the latest GMBN Tech going on at Sea Otter, check this one out over here.
Yeah, and if you would like to see the unboxing of the new Crank Brothers stamp pedals in their new colours, then click just here. You can win some of those. Click on the old GMBN Tech globe to subscribe. And Doddy will see you next week, and hopefully me and Chris will get another go another time.